On the news tonight, Bishop of Catholic Diocese Ondo, Reverend Jude Arogundade, backs Governor Akeredolu to seek justice for victims of Owo attack. ODEC shifts local government election over non-compliance with regulations by parties. President Tinubu approves new Electricity Act. And from the foreign scene, Canadian wildfires disrupt flights and other activities. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news at 7 on Osrc Television. I am Oyewumi Ayenigbara. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has been commended for his determination to bring consolation to the people of Owo, the Catholic Church, and the families affected by last year's tragic massacre. The Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Ondo, Most Reverend Dr. Jude Arogundade, expressed his support for Governor Akeredolu's resolve to seek justice for the victims and families of the June 5, 2022 terrorist attack on the Catholic Church. The cleric gave the remarks at the rededication ceremony of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo as part of a week-long activities commemorating the one-year anniversary of the massacre that claimed the lives of 41 church worshippers and left several others injured. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports that families and victims of the attack received more cash palliatives from the state government.
It was time for the rededication of St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, following the June 5, 2022 terror attack. The Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Ondo, Most Reverend Jude Arogundade, commended Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for his determination to bring succor to the families and victims of the terror attack while seeking justice.
When it comes to doing what is right, I remember when this incident took place and the governor was saying, Bishop, what shall we do? I asked the governor, we have to immortalize those who died in that incident. And he said, how? I said, build a memorial park. I only said it once. I thought he has forgotten. I thought everybody forgot. But all of a sudden, just about 2 or 3 months ago, I heard they were laying the foundation. And before I could even travel down to Owo, I saw a magnificent memorial park.
The event also witnessed the presentation of additional cash gifts to the victims and families of the deceased by the Relief Fund Management Committee of the state government, led by the Special Advisor to Governor Akeredolu on Union Matters and Special Duties, Mr. Dari Aragbayi.
Last time we came here, so that I don't waste much of our time. What we need to do is to hand over the palliative of the continued comfort of those who have been injured and representatives of the families of the deceased. We believe that only God can comfort and console all of us.
In her words, the State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Juliana Oshadam, encouraged the people to always put their trust in God. Some of the beneficiaries, after receiving the additional cash palliatives, were full of appreciation to the state government and Governor Akeredolu for prioritizing their welfare.
Mrs. Justina, representative of Mrs. Oluwatoyin Akiyemi.
I'm using this medium on behalf of my family to appreciate the government.
I'm thanking Ondo State government for effort that do during the incident. Because notwithstanding, I even lost my mom.
Since over a year ago, government is still having these individuals involved in this mishap in mind.
And we also thank him for everything he has been doing for us, for his awareness to us, for his goodness to us, and we pray that God will continue to strengthen him.
The June 5, 2022 attack claimed the lives of innocent 41 worshippers, leaving several others injured. From Owo, Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
The Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission, ODEC, has shifted the local government election slated for December 2023. The chairman, Dr. Joseph Aremo, made the statement in the stakeholders meeting with leaders of various political parties in the state, as well as electoral officers and security agencies. Just one party complied with the regulation of submission of candidate list within 180 days for the conduct of party primaries election, which didn't give the commission an opportunity to perform its functions as electoral umpire. He, however, said the primaries earlier scheduled to end tomorrow will now come to an end on the 10th of August 2023. The state's electoral boss equally explained that campaigns will end on the 15th February 2024, while the councillorship and chairmanship election will be conducted on Saturday, 17th February 2024. And now to education. The Ondo State government has urged parents and other stakeholders to support the recently introduced Education Endowment Levy for the development of the education sector of the state. It was gathered that the government introduced the endowment fund with every taxable adult to pay an annual levy of a sum of 1,000 naira to enhance the development of the education sector of the state. Speaking on the development at the sensation campaign for the scheme in Akure, the State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, explained that the endowment fund will assist the state in providing basic infrastructure and meeting other exigencies in public schools across the state. The sensitization campaign, which kicked off with a roadshow in Akure, was organized by the State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in conjunction with the Ondo State Internal Revenue Service. According to the commissioner, the fund became imperative to enable the state government to tackle the infrastructural deficit in the education sector and provide basic essential materials for its public schools and institutions. Meanwhile, exposure of pupils to various processes involved in news gathering and transmission was a mission of pupils of Vicpart International School in Luabo as they embarked on an excursion to the state's Ondo State Renovation Corporation, Osrc, in Akure. The pupils were taken through the rudiment of broadcasting, a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity for some of them. Our correspondent, Kunle Ario, reports.
These are the pupils of Vicpart International School, Iluabo, in Akure North local government area of Ondo State. They are here on an academic excursion to the headquarters of the State Media Group at Orita Obele in Akure. The aim of the excursion was to expose the pupils to the art of broadcasting and journalism. The pupils were conducted around the State Media Group complex, which houses the television station OSRC, Orange 94.5 FM and Alalaye 96.5 FM, by the Deputy Director, Engineering Services, Mesa Ibokun Adibowale. They visited studios of the 3 stations, coding studios, and the newsroom where they were taught the rudiments of broadcasting and journalism.
So we call this one head cam. What do we call it? Head cam. It's for you to monitor what is good. Are you hearing something there now? Yes. Okay.
Some of the pupils said they have gained more knowledge on the functions of numerous broadcast gadgets and facilities, as well as on how news and programs were generated, processed, and transmitted to the general public.
I learned about a camera, a game of microphone to capture voice.
The proprietress of the school, Mrs. Lydia Bayomi, said the excursion was to first expose the pupils and thanked the management of the media group for the opportunity. She said the intent and purpose of the visit was to sharpen the horizon of the pupils and help them in career choice.
The reason why we are here is because they can choose their choice in career, in future. They are still young, but they are leaders of tomorrow. So we don't know the areas of their specialties, and that's why they are here. They may be motivated in future to come and work in OSRC, and not that alone, to be a journalist. They may intend to be even the chairman of this place in future.
For these pupils, it was another exposure to the creativity of the broadcast industry and an opportunity greatly cherished. Kunle Ariyo, OSRC News.
You're still watching OSRC News at 7. After the break, we bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
A peak protein breakfast gets me to a great day. How do I know? Because my daddy goes through his work feeling good and always with a smile. Mommy is always filled with confidence. My sister is always in tune. And for me, learning new things becomes absolute fun. Because all day and every day, the peak goes on.
Start your day with a peak protein breakfast. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Hey, this kid, how are you guys? Farabale. 1,000. We go wash play tire. Farabale now.
Madam, hello, brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
10,000 people now. Wow. 1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
Glad to have you back on the news. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc Tv, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. President Bola Tinubu has approved the new Electricity Act, which replaces the 2005 Electricity and Power Sector Reform Act. The Electricity Act was first passed in July 2022 during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The new bill seeks to promote private sector investment in the Nigerian power sector and demonopolize the nation's electricity generation, transmission, and distribution at the national level. Also, President Bola Tinubu has held a meeting with traditional rulers and representatives from across the country at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. The meeting was part of a series of engagements the president is having with key stakeholders across the executive, legislative, business, and traditional institutions since he has in office on May 29. At the closed-door meeting, Tinubu is expected to discuss prevailing issues like national healing, reconciliation, and unity in line with his emphasis on peaceful coexistence in his inaugural speech. In his opening remarks, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Said Abubakar III, who led his counterparts to the meeting, said the traditional rulers visited the president to congratulate him and to assure him of their support in the task of nation building. According to the Sultan, the Council of Traditional Rulers is replete with professionals from various fields, making the body a useful ready pool for the president to draw expertise, counseling from which will be useful for him in leading the nation. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has approved a public lecture to commemorate the 30th anniversary of an election adjudged as probably the freest, fairest, and most credible elections in the nation's history, the June 12 presidential election. The public lecture, titled Democracy, Development, and Political Stability of Nigeria, is scheduled to hold on Monday, June 12, 2023 at the International Culture and Event Center, the Dome in Akure by 10 a.m. A statement from the Office of the State Head of Service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, has therefore directed that all civil servants on grade level 13 and above across all ministries, departments, and agencies must be in attendance, even as accounting officers in government establishments are expected to give the event widest publicity. 5 days to the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, President Bola Tinubu's meetings with lawmakers-elect failed to resolve the crisis over the All Progressives Congress zoning agreement. The APC National Working Committee had microzoned the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President seat to Senator Godswill Akpabio from South-South and Senator Jibrin Barau from North-West. But other aspirants like Senators Abdulaziz Yari Zamfara West, Osita Izunazo Imo West, and Orji Kalu Abia North have insisted that they would not step down for the party's consensus candidate. In the House, the APC leadership had also endorsed the member-elect representing Kaduna Northwest, Tajuddin Abbas, as speakership candidate, while the member-elect from Abia State Southeast, Benjamin Kalu, clinched the deputy speaker's slot. The aspirants who were among the lawmakers who held the meeting with the president at the Aso Villa, Abuja, were still lobbying their colleagues and strategizing to obtain the APC zoning arrangement for the NAS principal positions. The National Youth Council of Nigeria Lagos State Chapter has urged the President Bola Tinubu and the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to include youth in their government. The President of the Council, Binyami Oba, made the appeal in a statement made available while congratulating Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Amzat, and the Speaker of the 10th Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, on the margins of their various leadership seats. The Forum of Commissioners for Finance of Nigeria has called on the federal government to ensure that all accruals from the removal of fuel subsidy go to the Federation account. The outgoing chairman of the forum, Mr. David Olofu, made the call at the valedictory session of outgoing state commissioners for finance held in Abuja. While commending President Bola Tinubu on the removal of subsidy, Olofu said, as finance expert, the forum, like other well-meaning Nigerians, had a long yearned for rates. On how the president should manage the funds from subsidy, Olofu said that the Constitution provided for all revenues to go into the Federation account, saying the transparency and accountability are non-negotiable with a view to attaining desired results. Oil marketers are currently converting some of their trucks to start supplying gas to filling stations in order to dispense compressed natural gas to vehicles that run on gas. About 800 tankers that formerly transported petrol to filling stations were being converted by marketers to start moving gas to retail outlets. The marketers told correspondents that they were now calculating CNG dispensing pumps in selected filling stations that dispense premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol. They stated that the move gained momentum after the halt in PMS subsidy by the federal government following the announcement by President Bola Tinubu on May 29, 2023, that subsidy is gone. The federal government had been pushing for the use of CNG by motorists as against the widespread consumption of PMS. Nigeria is a nation of over 200 million people with about 200,000 kilometers of road. These roads are the most important means of transportation in the country, responsible for the movement of about 80% of the country's population and goods from one location to another. The road network is often overcrowded with drivers that lack education and basic driving skills, fueling a surge in number of road crashes and fatalities. In this report, Joy Pius takes a look at some ethical road use values and the impact of the Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC) to return the eroding values to Nigerian roads.
Globally, over 1.3 million lives are lost on the roads annually, and in Nigeria, about 40 million deaths are registered from road carnages, a disturbing record begging for efficient administration and management of the roads. As of fourth quarter of 2021, speed violations led to over 2,000 road crashes in Nigeria, while sign or light violations caused 312 accidents. Wrongful overtaking accounted for 287 of the mishaps. Dangerous driving was to blame for 275 accidents. Tire bursts caused 164, among other reasons. Despite these staggering figures, disregard for traffic rules remains unabated, raising questions about the effectiveness of road safety operatives. What began as a civil organization set up by Professor Wole Soyinka in Oyo State metamorphosed into the Federal Road Safety Commission (FRSC) in 1988, and now it is known and referred to as the Federal Road Safety Corps. The initial mandate is to prevent or minimize accidents on the highway, clear obstructions, and educate drivers, motorists, and other members of the public on the proper use of the highways. The alarming rate of unethical road use and eroding values on the road is raising serious concerns that perhaps the FRSC is not doing enough to checkmate the excesses of road users in terms of overtaking from the right side, the use of headphones by drivers and motorcyclists while driving, and other acts of recklessness.
Around here, we don't normally used to obey rules. Likewise, you can play sand, but you don't earpiece. Putting earpiece into your two ears are not allowed. Then overtaking from the right hand side is highly prohibited.
When you call yourself a driver, you must know the road sign. When you know the road sign, you will know how to control your motor in major road. But some people are driving in major road without knowing all this road sign. That is why it causes the accident. But when you just ask them to pay, they pay to government coffers and they still go ahead driving around with the tires. To remove the tire, give them the correct one, they will pay. Then if they are paying, they still pay total to the government.
How effective is the FRSA at enforcing and punishing violators of road regulations, if one may ask? Mr. Ezekiel Sonanla is the commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Ondo State.
So sometimes you see people, even in the midst of oncoming traffic, they want to overtake. By so doing, you are risking your own life, like I said, and then you are risking the lives of other road users. And people that does that, if they are arrested, we impound them directly to the office here. I want to appeal to our motorists, please don't use phone while driving. Park and receive your code.
Worrisome also is the rate of vehicles with faded number plates plying the roads, with serious implications on the security of citizens.
I want the general public to understand that you cannot see such numbers in our database. So if anything happens, peradventure such a vehicle is stolen, it will be difficult to recover it. And so you must ensure that if your vehicle is using old number plate, I want to appeal to the motoring public that they must go to the MLA, Board of Internal Revenue, and ensure that the vehicle has the new number plate, not old number plate.
Statistics revealed that out of the leading causes of road accidents in Nigeria in the fourth quarter of 2021, bad road was only responsible for 50 accidents, compared to speed violations, sign or light violations, and wrongful overtaking, with cumulative alarming figure of 3,539. The disturbing revelations indicated that unethical practices on Nigerian roads manifested in irresponsive and irresponsible actions of individuals must be tackled headlong, if Nigeria is determined to reduce the rates of carnages on its roads. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 52 suspected internet fraudsters in Ogun State. The anti-graft agency, on its official Twitter handle, said the individuals were arrested for computer-related frauds by operatives of the Lagos Zonal Command of the body. EFCC said all the suspects will soon be arraigned before appropriate courts of law. And now to the foreign scene. Smoke from Canadian wildfires have enveloped U.S. cities in a monstrous zone, delaying flights and disrupting outdoor events in what President Joe Biden called a stark reminder of climate change. Thick skies and an acrid campfire smell hung over the capital, Washington. Aketunde Akishimola has an update.
The U.S. capital has been shrouded in a haze of smoke as hundreds of Canadian wildfires continue to push clouds of harmful air across much of the eastern U.S. Health officials in more than a dozen states have warned millions of residents that spending time outdoors could cause respiratory issues due to the high level of fine particulates in the atmosphere.
This is the worst air quality we've had at least since the 1960s when we started monitoring.
New York State Governor Kathy Hochul urged residents in affected areas, particularly the 5 boroughs of New York City, wear masks when outside and limit outdoor activity to protect themselves.
We are distributing these. We did these during the morning rush this morning in New York City. We have them at state parks, MTA stations, Javits Center.
New York City saw pollution similar to that found in perennially smoggy cities such as the Bangladeshi capital, Dhaka, and Delhi, according to experts. Winds are carrying the smoke south from Canada, which is experiencing its worst ever start to the wildfire season on record. Thousands of Canadians have been forced from their homes, and the country's Minister for Emergency Preparedness said about 9.4 million acres have already burned, roughly 15 times the 10-year average. U.S. President Joe Biden said he had spoken with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau about the crisis, and hundreds of U.S. firefighters and equipment were assisting Canadian crews battling the blazes. Biden urged residents to heed health warnings.
We already have 600 American firefighters on the ground and been there for a while in Canada, including hotshots and the smoke jumpers.
The wildfire smoke in Washington forced Biden's White House Pride Month celebration to be postponed, according to officials, moving the event from Thursday to Saturday. Smoky conditions are likely to persist until Sunday, when a new storm system shifts the direction of prevailing winds. Akintunde Akishimola for SUBSIDY News.
And that's the news tonight. Just before we go, a quick look at the major stories. We told you that Bishop of Catholic Diocese Ondo, Reverend Jude Arogundade, has backed Governor Akeredolu to seek justice to victims of Owo attack. ODEG has shifted local government election over non-compliance with regulations by parties. We also told you that President Tinubu has approved a new electricity act. And from the foreign scene, Canadian wildfires has disrupted flights and other activities. And that's the news tonight. Many thanks for watching. Good evening.
Thank you.